You can do all these drop kicks and this and that and the other, but when you start arguing and the people can feel the vibration in the building, they can feel the heat, that's what gives creative the ideas for the coming months. So, but I think they will have a good match, a great match, and they could fool us here a little bit.
Now, according to cage match statistics here, Mr.
Oh,
Mantell,
we don't believe they're fake ass shit. We don't listen to them.
You have had 2,138 matches in your career.
How many?
2,000.
Brother, we used to work every day.
And 38. According to
we used to work 300 and at least 380 days or matches a year. Not counting the TV.
Would you like to know your win percentage?
No, it's about 5%.
44.6.
44.
Yeah.
Damn.
They said you won. You have, according to Cage Match, you have 954 wins under your belt to 1,010 losses and 174 draws. So you had 174 matches that went to no contest.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That is good to know. Match statistics. Yeah.
And where's that from?
Cagematch.net.
Okay. I got to remember that.
Yeah, so 2,100 matches. You've had 2,100 matches. That's still getting hit in the head a lot, though. That's still like
21. Yeah. No, I've had a lot more matches than that because they don't cover. They don't cover any independent matches you've had or anything. They really don't. So, who comes up with those figures? They do?
I don't know. I mean, they got matches in here from the United States Wrestling Organization. They got matches from Supreme Wrestling, Crossfire Wrestling, Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Juggalos.
Yeah, Independent Superstars.
I gotta tell you that story when I went to the Juggalos match that time. My God.
Yeah.
You're talking about. We'll tell it another time, but it was. It is a mother hunter. It really was.
Well, we'll save that for. We'll save that for next week.
You think you know all the wrestling stories? There's more you haven't heard yet. Join us on Backstage Pass.
Let's go with Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Now, I think you've already alluded to, you believe that the Batman Superman team here of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns finds a way to coexist and get the job done against the Bloodline. Is that accurate? Do Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes work cohesively in Atlanta? Their town, and get the win over Solo and Jacob Fatu.
Cohesively is a good word, but they will work cohesively up to a point, and then we might almost see like Cody wanting to leave him at one point, or Roman wanting to leave Cody at one point while they're beating the crap out of him. Yeah, that's a good tip-off. Looks like I'm just leave you in the ring. Then they come in and, they all wrap it up and put a little bow on it, and they go 1, 2, 3, and they all love it. Then, of course, now we tell the story for about 10 minutes after the match, and we'll see what kind of crowd reaction you get. Now, this is what your creative team looks at. You can do all these drop kicks and this and that and the other, but when you start arguing and the people can feel the vibration in the building, they can feel the heat, that's what gives creative the ideas for the coming months. So, but I think they will have a good match, a great match, and they could fool us here a little bit. So, but I'm looking forward to that match. I really am.
Who's winning?
Who do you think is winning?
That's why I'm asking you. I'm asking for a prediction. Who's winning?
I think Mr. Rhodes and Mr. Roman.
Yeah. The X factor for me, because the story for me in this one, they did that entire cinematic movie masterpiece at Georgia Tech, and the whole story coming out of that was, I promise to have your back in this match. You got my back in this match. Then after we're done with the bloodline, then we'll go back to throwing fists with one another. I got to hold both those guys to their word on that, because neither one of them have proven to really ever be a liar. So I feel like they're going to work well as a team. My question is, because this is a bloodline match after all, where does the outside interference come into play on this one? And I'm looking directly at Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, because you know the other members of the bloodline, the Tongans, are going to get involved in some way, shape, or form, some fashion. So do Cody and Roman, or excuse me, do Randy and KO get involved to try and even the odds? Do they accidentally cost their team? Or does somebody who has an issue with this team, because we saw Randy start to tease a little bit like he's plotting something. For weeks, we have seen Kevin Owens look like he just wants to haul off and take a swing at Cody Rhodes like he's the Rock at Mankind at Royal Rumble. We've been seeing that for weeks now.
Yeah.
One of those guys finally snap on Cody and cost him this match. That's what I'm looking toward. That's what I'm looking for as far as the shenanigans are concerned in this matchup. If that happens, I think the Bloodline has a real shot.
The background is laid down. It's there. Now let's see how far is this the time to pull the trigger on it? Or do they wait just a little bit longer? I'm going to say they're going to wait a little bit longer. That's what I think.
Patience has always been the virtue with the Bloodline story, so I agree with you. I think they wait. I think Roman and Cody get the win. But if the Bloodline wins, I'll call this: Jacob Fatu pins Roman Reigns. That's going to be the finish. If the Bloodline wins, it's going to be Jacob pinning Roman in some way, somehow.
But if Cody and Roman win, who are they pinning?
Solo.
Yep.
Solo.
But that's what I think. I think they're going to pin Solo, and they're going to. But see, they don't need to do any more with Solo. And I mean, the story is there. If you have them get beat and then they argue with each other, now you're running two stories at one time. Which one takes precedence? So it's got to be the tag match. So I would put Cody and Roman over, and then let my TV do the rest of the work.
I will say the Bloodline needs it more. I think Solo needs it more. And I think it would make some sense for the Bloodline to win this one to help set up old school Bloodline versus new school Bloodline at Survivor Series. So it's going to be interesting to see what direction they decide to take.
And when is Survivor Series? November?
Yeah, it's the end of November. It's usually the weekend of Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Usually when they do that. Yeah. So a little bit of time, but not much. It's already October. Final match we need to discuss here, Dutch. It is CM Punk. It is Drew McIntyre. It is Hell in a Cell. Who wins besides the fans? Because this is there's no way this match doesn't deliver, in my opinion.
Well, I think CM Punk gets his hand raised, but they have been booking this match, CM Punk and his opponent,
Drew McIntyre. Did we mention Dutch has been hitting the head a lot? Anyway,
I can't remember nobody's name. Anyway, I bet they booked this 30 times. Back and forth, late night phone calls. What do you think about this? So, but I think it's gonna. But I think CM Punk wins it. And where else can they go with this?
This is the end. This is it. This is definitive. It is done. It is over. CM Punk has already told us what his next steps are. He's going to be finished with Drew McIntyre, and then he is going to be challenging for a World Heavyweight Championship. Whether that happens at the Royal Rumble, whether that happens at Survivor Series, I don't know. But this has been going on for 10 months.
Yeah,
it was the logical story to tell coming out of the Royal Rumble, the way that CM Punk got injured. These two have worked incredibly well together. There was a real life hatred. There was plenty to build off of. This was the story that needed to happen after the events of the Royal Rumble took place. Maybe Seth Rollins gets involved. Seth Rollins. Maybe Rollins gets involved. He just returned back on Raw. I know he's got some issues with Bronson Reed, but he had issues with both Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. So it could be, I mean, it's Hell in a Cell. Anything can happen. CM Punk, if the next step for CM Punk ahead of what is going to be his eventual WrestleMania match, I believe, with Seth Rollins next year, is going to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, it's got to be him who wins it. And I think he will find a way to win it. It's not a bad L for Drew McIntyre to take, even though he will drop to 0-3 in Hell in a Cell matches. And I know that's going to get stuck in his craw a little bit, but Drew's going to be fine. This Drew has come out a winner.
He looks at that check every 2 weeks. He don't give a shit whether he's 0-20. That money stays the same. But I just want you to think back a year and a half ago when Triple H just took over his creative duties. I mean, he had to build everything from scratch. Nobody had any heat on them except Roman. And if you said somebody's name like Roman and so, I don't care what. You hear my dog?
I do, yes.
Yeah. Shut up, you little bastard. Oh, yeah. See, he pays attention to me. But they have done a magnificent job making these matches jump off the page at you. And that's the beauty about pro wrestling, because if you tell the right story and get the people invested in the characters, I mean, you can go for a long, long time. And then it gets to a point where it almost books itself. I've been booking certain territories. Sometimes I would just say, what am I going to do this week? Well, there's nothing to do. You just put the names out there, and sometimes you could just sit back there. I could watch it from the dressing room and say, well, that's my next thing right there. Because the fans would tell me what they wanted to see, and I'd go with it, and they were right.
It is going to be interesting to see what is next for Drew McIntyre if he loses, where he goes, what his next story is going to be. Because if anything, he has proven I don't think he's reached his ceiling as a performer, whether it's on the mic, in the ring, as a storyteller. I think he just gets better and better and better and better. And this CM Punk story that he's been able to sink his teeth into,
he's
capable of.
Drew McIntyre was teamed up with, who was he teamed up with?
Oh, God.
The three-man team. It was... God,
wasn't it him and Corbin and... Oh, are you talking about 3MB?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that was him, Jinder Mahal, and Heath Slater.
Okay. But they didn't do anything with that.
Hell no.
They tried to, but they just...
Did they try to, though? Did they really? Or were they just there to make Vince laugh?
No, they were just, exactly. They were just there to say, okay. And sometimes they do things like that so they can tell the talent, we tried, but they didn't really try. They put them out there under the pretense of trying, but they didn't do the right stuff with them. They didn't really do anything that made sense, if you ask me. But anyway, I'm glad he's getting his due justice now, because he's a great performer, a great worker.
No doubt. All right, Dutch, what you got anything else to promote for the people?
Well, I'm going to rob this 7-Eleven up the street. I'm going to go. You need to stop your bullshitting. I mean, everything is not a joke. This is some serious stuff we're talking about here. But the way WWE has it all set up now is it could actually run on its own for a month without changing anything and doing any big angles. You would have that layover, fold over, or lap over for at least a month. And then if they really wanted to do something, they just re-crank it up and go again. Because that's the beauty of wrestling, because, and I've said this before, the fans don't forget. They will remember. How many matches have you seen? You say, why in the hell did they do that? That don't make any damn sense at all. But, and if you really think about it, it doesn't make sense whatever they did. But if they really think about how their fans are going to receive some of this stuff, that's when they're in the money. So, yeah, you can find me at Dirty Dutch Mantell at gmail.com. You can write me. I usually write you back. And I have University of Dutch diplomas for sale. I have books for sale. I have another, it's a green one. I don't have it on me right now. I have 2 books for sale. And I did have some caps a little bit, but I've about run out of those. I got about 2 or 3 left. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, send me an email and I'll get back to you.
Sounds good.